Happy Monday. This is James Himm Mitchell, your intuitive guidance counselor, here with your week in Tarot. And this week I'm going to be using the Housewives Tarot by Paul Kepple and Jude Buffum. And I want to give a shout out to my tarot buddy, Stephen Bright, over at Tarot. And I'll put a link to his blog at the bottom of this video. But I want to acknowledge him because he used this particular deck last week in his blog, where he posts a card from a deck every day for a week. And so last week he used the Housewives Tarot, and I have it in my collection, and it so inspired me to use it for this next video. But he was the cause for the inspiration, so I want to acknowledge him and say thanks, Stephen. So having said that, those of you who have been watching my videos for some time now know that I take the tarot deck when I do these weekly videos and I divide it into 3 piles. The first pile here consists of a major arcana card, and it's going to represent our theme for the week. And our minor arcana cards usually talk about the spiritual influences, psychological factors, and the overall life lesson that we're going to experience for the week. The second pile in the middle consists of the court cards, which are the kings, queens, knights, and pages of tarot. And a card from this pile is going to show us what tarot is asking us to consider as a possible approach for the week. And then the last pile consists of the remaining minor arcana cards, and a card from this pile is going to show us a potential challenge that may show up as we move through the week. So having said that, I'm going to take the first pile, the theme pile, I'm going to shuffle till I feel led to pull a card. Okay, I'm going to go with that one. And here we have the Hierophant. Okay, so now the Hierophant is all about teaching, it's all about learning, it's all about our beliefs. And in the Housewives Tarot, here is an image of the very first model of the TV set. And so this card represents paying attention to what's being broadcast. I look at this as a broadcasting symbol. You know, so what are the messages that are being broadcasted from society, from media, things like that nature. This represents things that we have been traditionally taught, things that we believe from tradition. This is about society, cultures, norms, and mores. And so it's about taking the time to look at what are your beliefs and where do they come from. And, you know, taking a look at, are they serving you right now where you are in life? If they are, then keep them. But if they're not, it's time to discard them. This is an old TV, so some of those beliefs are old, some of them are antiquated, some of them are relics, and, you know, they need to be discarded. But you have to be mindful of knowing what the belief is and where it comes from. So that's the Hierophant this week. Our approach, not that one, is the King of Pentacles. Now here's an interesting thing. There's a theme here because both of these cards, the Hierophant and the King of Pentacles, carry the sign of Taurus. And Taurus is the sign of ownership and possessions. So it's very interesting that we have 2 Taurus cards back to back. But now, here's another interesting thing. For the last 3 weeks, so it's this week and the 2 weeks prior, the King of Pentacles has been our approach card. So we're being broadcasted, being given the same message again and again and again. So the King of Pentacles is all about power, control, and mastery, because that's what a king is. But Pentacles is all about the material world. And I've been saying for the last few weeks, this is about paying attention to life and how valuable it is and what's your value system, because Pentacles are all about the value that we place on things. And he represents being in the laps of luxury, so he has everything he could possibly need or want. So it represents abundance and prosperity and well-being. But our value system comes from what we've been taught, going back to the Hierophant. So when you're doing your assessment, when you're looking at what you believe, it's like, you know, asking yourself, what's the value of that belief to me? Because it's served its purpose, it's been in your life for some time. And you have to ask yourself, what's the value of it? And is it still valuable? Does it still have the same amount of worth as it had in the past? And if it has, great. And if it doesn't, then it's time to say, okay, I may need to make a shift here, because, you know, as we grow and mature and evolve, our value systems change with us. So those things that we thought were valuable, at one time may no longer be the case. So that's the King of Pentacles. Now, our possible challenge for the week. I'm going to go with that card. Is the Three of Cups. Okay, so now the Three of Cups is all about good times, celebrations, social events. This card is all about being connected to people. And so this week we're being asked, who are the people that we're connected with? What's the value of those associations, relationships, friendships? The Three of Cups could be, being with people who are of like minds, people who share similar interests and hobbies, things of that nature. So, but it's about paying attention to who we're connected to and why. What's the value of those relationships? Now, another side note, if you happen to be a person who is intuitive or psychic or whatever you want to call that, the Three of Cups is asking you to really work with your intuition. Going back to the Hierophant. The Hierophant in cases of intuition is about clairaudience, and clairaudience is about being able to hear messages. It's one of the five clairs. There's just like there's five physical senses, going with the King of Pentacles, he's all about the physical world and things of physical form. Just like there are five physical senses, there are five psychic or intuitive senses. And so the Hierophant is all about clairaudience because it's about messages being heard. But going back to the Three of Cups is if you're of that bent and you're working with your intuition, this card is asking you to consider the idea of going public. So this is about, working with your intuition in a public setting. It could be like you are invited to a psychic fair, a social event, or that you hook up with other people who are working on the same thing and you give readings for those people, or you give readings in a public sense. For me, when I see the Three of Cups, it's always a clear sign that I need to be reading publicly or doing some public one-on-one readings. No matter how it shows up, it always represents doing something of a public nature. The other thing about the Three of Cups is that it talks about networking. So it's about, connecting with other people. And one of the ways that we network is sometimes through our friends, because this card represents being connected through people that we know. So that expression like, I know somebody who knows somebody. That's what this card is about. So, and especially if you're looking to network, whether socially or for business, the King of Pentacles is all about self-employment. So if you are a self-employed person, then the Three of Cups is for you, that you need to be networking, you need to be getting out there, you need to be talking to people. So summing up, the Hierophant is, as our theme for the week, is asking us to pay attention to the messages that we get through the week. Life is always speaking to us, and are we paying attention to the messages that we're getting? This is a card also too about examining our belief systems. Some of them may be outdated and needing to be replaced. In some cases we call that unlearning. So learned behavior needs to be unlearned. So it just is more of a reflection for where you're at in your stage of development, because this card is about socialization and learning stages of development. So based on your stage of development, looking at your belief system. Okay, the King of Pentacles, again, now this has been the third time running in 3 different decks. So, but again, this goes back to examining what our value system is. As we're looking at the things that we may need to discard in terms of outdated beliefs, they had value at one time, they may no longer have that same value, and so they need to be replaced. But it's asking you to place value on everything that you experience in life. Everything has value, everything. And, because going back to the Hierophant, if you look at it that way, the Hierophant is also about institutions of learning. So everything is a learning experience, and just because of that, it has value. Okay? And then the Three of Cups is asking us, how can we be more social this week? How can we be connected? How can we get out there and network socially or professionally? But it's about getting out and doing that. And also, how can we work with our intuition in a more public way? So these are your cards for the week. I am James Himm Mitchell, your intuitive guidance counselor, And I look forward to sharing this space here with you again next week. And until then, have a tarot-tastic week and take care.